What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, giving you guys a very late review for episode 17, Heart of Wolf of BLEACH, 1000-Year Blood War Arc anime, completing basically volume 62, with the exception, of course, of the Ichigo stuff, but everybody, I don't think there's a single BLEACH fan, everybody is enjoying the fact that we're getting more content, more stuff directly from Kubo. We can surmise similar to the Uryu stuff. We're getting a lot more from Ichigo in the Royal Palace and stuff like that, so I don't think anybody's complaining about that. But of course this episode, you know, the volume cover, the title of the episode, it's all about Sajin. It's all about Sajin for the majority of it. Of course we do go on and we have the conversation with Shunsui and Jugurum there, and then we also jump into the lieutenants finishing off their fight against, you know, Ikaku and Hisagi and all them fighting up against Mask and James and stuff like that, and then the start of that sort of battle again sort of idea. The fact of the matter is, though, the Sajin stuff in the manga, I like the episode, by the way. I like that we're moving right along at a great pace. Episode 17 basically finishes off this volume completely, and then we can move on to the next volume and stuff, because the more volumes basically we cover, and I don't think anybody was super hyped. I like that the fight was very true to the manga. We're not really extending fights that nobody necessarily wanted extended. I believe some fights, the more fan favorite fights, are going to be extended a little more extra, you know, to give us more visual content, more feast for the eyes, if you will. But Bambieta versus Sajin wasn't one of those fights. It was basically a one-sided beatdown with Sajin's Jinka technique, the new body, right? The immortal body. And the look, and once again, a lot of people complaining about the CGI. I think Sajin Komamura's Bankai, it looked great in the CGI. I think it worked. It didn't look like out of place. I thought it looked really good, okay? But the one thing I want to talk about is I had to go back and reread the specifics of this, because this is one of the things that anime gets to do. We get to ponder and linger much longer with a throwaway line than we do in the manga. For the most part, the translation is pretty much the same, but it felt like we were really hammering home on the irony of the I don't really have another word for it. Literally, the irony is right there. There's better words, there's better synonyms for this, but what am I talking about is the idea that Sajin thinks he's doing this noble thing, in a sense. Komamura thinks he's doing this very it's justice, it's honor, it's good. The Quincy's are evil. They killed Yamamoto Genryosai, and they must pay for that. That would be the honorable thing to do. That's the justice thing to do. But what he's truly doing is following a path of vengeance, one of revenge, something he cautioned Tosen against, and the reason Tosen fell in fake Karakura Town arc, after they defeated Tosen and stuff like that. Like, you did all of this, and you might have thought it was your blind justice and all this stuff, that you thought it was your justice speaking, but no, this was nothing more than pettiness. It was nothing more than this. His wise words that he had to Tosen after Tosen died, after they finished off Tosen, he didn't follow his own words. And that's sort of not really expanded upon, we just linger on it. Both the old wolf, the grandfather wolf there, forget his name if his name is ever given, he speaks about it, basically saying the words you gave to your friend, like, you're becoming one of the werewolf clan. We committed sins so terribly in our past lives that even when we came to the Soul Society, we're still shunned in these form of beasts, because we committed atrocities in our past lives and our souls are damaged as a result, so we go to the animal realm and all this stuff, right? So there's a bit of Buddhism stuff to go into there, but I won't go and dive into that too much. Pretty much that's what we're establishing here in the Soul Society. Sajin has abandoned his clan and attempted to be a warrior of honor, a man of honor and stuff like that, and he was shunned, but Yamamoto took him in and all this stuff, right? So he believes what he's doing is righteous, but he didn't follow his own words. And as he used the Jinka technique, he ripped out his own heart. It was all due to revenge and vengeance. He must kill Yuha for revenge. It's not for justice. It's not for honor. It's for revenge. He killed his benefactor. He killed the one person that gave him a chance and allowed him to, with the court guard squads and all this stuff, he feels anger and resentment, the negative side of things, right? It's a fine line between revenge and justice, vengeance and justice, right? And he was tipped to that scale, and the old wolf basically keeps saying, yes, use your anger, use it to focus, drown in it, because that is what it means to be one of our clan and stuff like that. And I'm getting this feeling from the old wolf, and I got it the same in the manga, is I'm not sure if he's doing this as a selfish act or a selfless act. It's still ambiguous on exactly what the end goal was here for the old wolf. If, the heart allows him to keep, by Sajin ripping out his own heart, he allowed him to keep living, though it's implied that Komamura knew that was going to allow the old wolf to keep on living and stuff like that, because he says, you knew, thank you for doing this for me and stuff like that. And he said, even becoming a stupid animal, a non-thinking animal anymore, for the rest of your life, you'll never be human again, you'll never be a hybrid again, you're going to be, basically this wolf, this dog, for the rest of your life. And that's implied that he knew, yet Komamura doesn't seem to realize it until he starts transforming back. What I like about it is that they linger on the Tosin stuff. Not only does the old wolf explain, you didn't basically listen to your own words. The words you gave to your fallen friend who followed the path that you are on right now, you did not follow your own advice. And look at where it's led you to this Jinka technique. And he doesn't seem to judge him whether he's right or wrong. That's what I kind of like. He's sort of this gray character where he's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart, and he's not doing it out of spite for Sajin for leaving the clan the first time. He seems to just be here's what it is. You can use the Jinka technique. Here's the price. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Here are your options. But he doesn't tell him. This is why I'm saying sometimes maybe he's doing this as a selfish act, because he doesn't speak to him about this whole, listen, the path you're on right now is the wrong path. It's a path of vengeance, the thing that you're against, and the thing that you advised Tosin against as he was dying. Those things, he didn't bring up at the first, so it's very ambiguous, and I like the character. I like that Kubo did that. He's not bringing us this character. He's sort of, is he benevolent? Is he malevolent? What is he, right? So, and the fact that then Sajin, after we go through that with the old dog's character, we jump into Sajin doing the same thing. And what I like is we see the flashbacks. We're seeing the flashbacks, and when Tosin was dying, and he was talking to him with Hisagi and the fake Katakura arc, he was talking to him about this, and he basically said, yeah, so my own words, I have failed. I failed to heed my own advice. And he recognizes this here at the end. Of course, hubris will demand it, that he recognizes his hubris at the end of it, the fact that he acknowledges that before his words were wise, but he was too clouded by anger and revenge and judgment and all that stuff, that he couldn't see anything past basically the glaze, the color of red, and just going forward with this revenge in mind. And so that is the price he must pay. I really, and of course Iba comes in at the end and stuff like that, and I really like that, because even though it doesn't seemingly go anywhere, the fact that Iba shows up, just picks up his captain and says, let's go, captain. Let's go kill that bastard Yuha. Let's do this. Even though we know that Komamura's in no shape to fight anybody anymore, Iba has no chance against probably any of the Stern Ridders alone. But, and from what we know from the Hellverse chapter and stuff, Iba is still very unsure of himself, very doubtful of himself. But at least he's humble enough to admit it. Because a lot of people have said on Reddit and stuff like that before, that the level of captain class has diminished from Turn Back the Pendulum to where we started it in the Soul Society arc, all the way down to where we are at the end of the series. Without spoiling anybody, who hasn't read the Hellverse arc or finished Thousand Year Blood War arc, the idea Captain Class, the term for power has not lost its meaning, but certainly lost its weight, lost a lot of its weight as a term for power scaling and stuff like that, right? So we know it's not going to go anywhere, but the moment is still nice between Captain and Lieutenant, because we don't get a lot of their interaction together, but it's still a really nice moment and stuff like that. So I just really like the fact that they hammered home on that. You know, they didn't just like blitz through it. They sort of gave us a moment to sort of appreciate that Sajin was like, and they gave us that, you know, the sound was good, the music was good, the coloring, of course, it's all going to be this ice and red sky sort of darkness color, but it still worked really well. And then of course when Sajin was exposed to not have his heart anymore and just that one heartbeat, boom, boom, like the void of a heart being there, then Bambietta was all shocked by. Really, really good. Of course, Bambietta gets implied to be, her girlfriends are a little bit cannibalistic in nature, so that's a thing. Then we jump over to the lieutenant fight with Mask and stuff like that. That was a little bit extended, of course, in the last episode and now into this episode and stuff. Kensei and Rose don't just show up with the whole defeat of the people, so we sort of recognize the problem with Mask and James right out of the gate. Though, once again, people are going to shit on the visors. I think, once again, that's a problem on Kubo's side of things by not showcasing the visors in a better light. Shinji, you know, Kensei, because Kensei's so cool, and so is Rose and stuff like that. The visors are cool captains. They really, really are. But they just don't get their best of luck. They're always the ones to show up first and then have somebody else come after them, you know, after we've figured out the weakness sort of idea, right? So, once again, I really like them, and I love when this happens, is the whole, you know, Mask is about to stomp on his lieutenant, Hisagi, and then boom, you know, just stops casually. And he's not even talking to Mask. He doesn't give a crap. Like, his attitude, Kensei's attitude is pretty badass here. Stopping Mask from stomping on Hisagi and basically being, after all that training, you pathetic. You know, so it is implied, once again, he did all that training, and there's something that begins with a B that apparently Hisagi was supposed to pull out and never does and stuff like that. So this is the implication that Kensei is once again saying, like, what? Like, seriously? Why are you on the ground right now? What are you doing? And that's basically where the episode ends, that Kensei and Rose are going to fight up against Mask. We do have Uryu show up to, this wasn't shown before, but Uryu's the one to show up for BG9 and the Iron, and shows up to take them back to the palace after they're like, okay, they've been defeated for the most part. And also the only other thing to cover once again is the fact that we're finally actually going to see the final palace by the looks of it. It seems like Ichigo completed his trial walking towards the Torii Gate in the endless path from Ichibei. It seems like he's gained all the knowledge and all the memories of the Soul King in a way, and it's like, are you going to burst forth and all this stuff? It's really, really cool. I'm definitely going to watch Tekking's Bombcast, and I urge everyone else to. Definitely watch Tekking's Bombcast. I'm sure he's going to analyze that tooth and nail, go up one side of it and down the other, and probably have a lot more insight than I will regards to that, but I'm looking forward to see if we're going to see anything more with the Palace Mayuri's, you know, I don't know, mother, girlfriend, ex, I mean, whatever. I'm really looking forward to see if we understand what exactly she trained them in or implied and stuff like that, and if we're going to get any more implication that Ichigo now has all the memories of the Soul King stuff, because Ichibei seems happy. He's like, will you be a vessel? Something that was brought up in Can't Figure Your Own World, though I haven't read it, is that Ichigo is going to be set up to be the next Soul King, as a potential vessel, a candidate for the next Soul King. Of course, it didn't happen. Let's just be real. It did not happen, but the fact that we see, like, all the memories and everything going inside of him, all the knowledge and stuff like that, and like his body ready to, like, are you a vessel capable, or will you just burst, like, you'll be what do they say, like a glass vase or a bowl that'll basically shatter under too much pressure. And we see all of it happening. Then Ichigo, of course, raises his sword. He's only got the wooden sword. I forget the Japanese name for that, the training sword, but he raises it up, it shines, and boom, he's back. And that he apparently finishes the endless path. He's gotten his 120 stars from Super Mario 64, right? The staircase isn't infinite anymore. He's able to finally take his steps forward through the Torii Gate, and then ends up at the final palace he's supposed to train in, sort of idea. So definitely a really good episode, and I like that we're not quickening the pace, but we're definitely going at a good steady pace, because there's more cores to go through, of course, but I'd like to see us definitely get up to, by the end of this core, I'd like to see us up to probably volume about 68, 67, 68 would be a good place to be around. Of course, we're going to have to skip a few things in regards to the fact that like Ichigo is already on his way back to the Soul Society halfway through volume 62. Clearly he hasn't even left the Soul Palace yet, so we might be doing some back and forth, jumping back and forth between volume scenes, you know, in this in the anime. So either way, I definitely really enjoyed the episode, and I'm looking forward to watching episode 18 and 19, because 19's coming out tomorrow. I'm recording this on the Friday after 18's already been out, so I'm really, really far behind in watching the episodes, let alone reviewing them. But I hope to knock off the. Of course, this review is done, and then I'll be definitely getting to volume episode 18 as soon as I can, and hopefully get those out back to back so I can get episode 19. 19 will definitely be late, but I'll only be one episode behind if I can get to these two. So anyways, that's my analysis for episode 17. I really, really liked it, because we don't really get anything more with Komamura. So if you really like Sajin, who he was one of my least favorite captains when I read the manga the first time and stuff. From watching the anime, I was like, I didn't really care about him too much. Upon watching the anime and rereading the manga and stuff, you really understand where he's coming from as a character. His relationship with Tosin is actually a very good character arc between the two of them. They intertwine as a good storyline beat and stuff like that. So, and this is the culmination of that. This is the culmination of, you know, he tried to save his friend and he couldn't save his friend, and now he followed after urging against for 2 arcs, urging against the path that his friend was on, and ending in disaster, ending in his death. It still, anger clouded his judgment too much, and he ended up on the same path, maybe for a righteous reason, but you could argue that Tosin was doing it for a righteous reason as well. But it was still the wrong choice. It was still the wrong path to take, and now Sajin is suffering as a result of that. So the irony, once again, like the beginning, the irony there, really, really heavy. I think was one of the coolest part of the episode, was the transformation and the recognizing the recognition of, I screwed up. You know, I should have let go of my anger. I shouldn't have done this. Once again, who knows what Sajin would have been able to accomplish without the Jinkic technique. Bambietta probably wouldn't have been defeated so handily. You know, the bombs, the explosions are very hard to deal with, as Shinji found out. But anyways, that's it for me, guys. Stay tuned for episode 18. Sorry this was so late, and we'll see you back here next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one.